Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the seminars today, The Embrace of Comfort, with my good friend Winette, who's in the Netherlands today, which is where she normally is, I think. We've got a bit of background noise, Winette, which I'm not quite sure where it is. That's better, I think. No?
It stops when you stop talking.
It's what?
It stops when you stop talking.
Okay. Anyway, we have a little bit of background noise. We're going to try and battle through this. We were just trying to work out the best way for Winette to do it with combination of charging the iPhone and having a microphone and headphones. But we think we've gone for this one, so she has power in her phone for the time we're doing it. But welcome everybody to today and tomorrow. We're doing a short series called The Embrace of Comfort. Is the background noise off? Is it really off-putting for everybody, or can we manage to get through it? Maybe just put something in the chat if it's a problem. I'm not sure what we can do about it. That's a problem. That's a thing. But I'm not sure where it is either. I think it's probably your end, Winette, but I'm not sure if you can identify it.
I can, if I plug the charger out and plug. Is it gone now?
Yeah.
No.
It's better, but not perfect. No, it's still there. Okay, we might just have to see how we get on. But can you hear it, Winette, or is it just me that can hear it?
I can hear it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is your phone at now, charge-wise?
It's 90% almost.
90%. Do you reckon you can risk it with 90%?
And then with the mic?
Yeah.
Let's try.
So if you go out, Winette, and plug it in and then come back in,
yeah.
Then we should see. Sorry about this, folks, but we just want to get the best sound. It must be the rain. Well, it could well be the rain. But we'll just try this and see if this works, because we do want to have the best sound we can. We might lose Winette in a minute, because sometimes when she plugs things back in, it cancels it. How's that, Winette?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
You're back. That's good. That's much better. I think we have that. That's better, folks.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, I'm going to very quickly do the sort of run through what's happening and then hand over to Winette so she can get the benefit of her the maximum battery life on her phone. But this is the second part of the series, Embraced. The first part was Embracing a Childlike Heart last month with Barry. And today and tomorrow, we're just looking at the embrace of comfort. So Winette's doing the first session this afternoon. And after that first session, we'll have a 15-20 minute break. And then I'll be doing the second session. And then straight at the end of the second session, we'll go into the Zoom question and answer discussion, and just an opportunity for us to pray and do some ministry, hopefully. And then we'll follow the same pattern again tomorrow, the same times. And so it's very similar tomorrow. Then on Wednesday evening in this week's webcast, Barry is joining Winette and I, and the three of us are going to have a discussion on the embrace of comfort and just sort of chat through this whole topic in a little bit more of an informal way and pick up some of the things we discuss in these 2 days. So you're very welcome to join us on Wednesday. That's streamed to Facebook Live, facebook.com, A Father to You, starting at 8 o'clock UK time. Thank you, folks, for those of you who've made a donation. Really, really appreciate that. Of course, anytime you want to do that, you're very welcome to do that at the website. And finally, last time when we did the seminars, we had a technical issue and it crashed. I'm hoping it won't happen this time, but if it does, I will send you a new link by email within about 5 minutes of it crashing. So that's my contingency plan, which I'm hoping not to have to use. But last time we didn't have a plan, and we made it up as we went along. But that's the plan for this time. If it crashes, check your email within a few minutes and you should have a new link. But I want to hand over quickly to Winette. I'll just pray for her. And then she's going to be doing the first session on the mother heart, the mothering love of the Father, which is so foundational and important for us as we begin to receive and soak in comfort. So thank you, folks, for joining us. Thank you for being with us all around the world, and just looking forward to what Father's going to do in our hearts over the next couple of days. So, Father, I just want to pray your blessing on Winette as she shares, as she opens her heart. Father, may we hear your heart. May we hear words of life that come from you. And Father, as Winette shares, and I share later on, may you come and hold us in that embrace of comfort. Father, may we be comforted even as we listen, even as we go through these sessions. May we be deeply comforted by your perfect love. Father, thank you for this opportunity of just being together and hearing what you want to do in our hearts. And we just open our hearts. We put to one side the busyness of the day, and we open our hearts to receive all that you want to do. And very, very practically, Father, I just pray that Winette's phone battery would last more than she needs it to. Amen. So, Winette,
Thank you, Mark.
over to you.
Good afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you are. I have thoroughly enjoyed the other sessions some weeks ago with Mark and Barry, and just talking about living in the embrace is something we just need to hear that over and over again, and we need to hear that with our hearts. The true life is living in that cycle, that circle of the Trinity in the middle of it. That is living in the embrace. And this afternoon, Mark asked me to share a little bit more on the mother heart of God, which is when Father gives us a revelation of that, it takes us so much deeper in heart-to-heart understanding of what it means to live in the middle of the Trinity, to live in the place where we belong, to live in the place where we have been created, to live on the place where we were thought about before the foundation of the world. And to me, that has changed enormously when God started to shed His light on that, His life too, because it brings back to life what the enemy has tried to let die down before we even maybe started to breathe our first breath or in the first years of our life. So much has been stolen from us. But the love of the Father is giving us back everything, and not just giving it back so that we're equal, but like giving it back in double measure. That's His heart for us. And so that's what He's focusing on, our hearts, and then connecting to His heart. That's His love. Now, I have been very much interested in looking at the Hebrew root of the word womb in the Bible. It comes, you can see it all over the place, because the root from the word womb in the Bible is racham in Hebrew, and you find it everywhere. 47 times in the Bible it says something like merciful compassion in the English translation. Merciful compassion, in that same order, these two words together. Only that we can find it 47 times in only the Old Testament. Now the word merciful here comes from that root racham, womb, that motherly, female, safe place where all of us started our lives. That is a place where nothing was expected from us. The place where we could just be, where we would receive everything we needed. Now that picture is what Father wants to show today. That's what His heart is like for us. His motherly heart, His motherly thoughts, His embrace. Living in His embrace is like living back in that place which was the womb for us. Now, when we look into the New Testament, in the Hebrew translation of the New Testament, that word racham is all over the place again. It's his mercies, like in the Old Testament, his mercies are new to us every morning. His racham, his motherly love, his compassionate love, his embrace is new to us every morning. His thoughts about us are like that motherly love. He wakes us up with it. And in the New Testament too, like his mercy is enough for us. His grace is enough for us. That all comes down to that same word, that same root, raham. Now, when we talk about God's motherly love, does it mean that God is female? You know, that's not really what we like to say here, though, because we see that God needs these two genders to show himself, to explain himself. He is male nor female, he is all in all. We can find both male characteristics and female characteristics in his heart, feminine and masculine. That's actually a better way to say it. So when he created mankind, we read in Genesis that God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created us. And that actually means he has given us these characteristics. And, you know, male and female, we are created in his image. Something in us is reflecting the very heart of God, the very image of God. And when we start to become children of him, we start to see that he is healing us up so that more and more and more we are starting to live in the image, in the likeness of him. In Psalm 103 says, as a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. Now, you see there again, that word compassion is again from that same root as where the other 47 times it has been translated as merciful compassion. It's the same root in Hebrew, raham. He has that merciful compassion, that embrace, that motherly embrace. That's what the Father is talking about. As the Father has a motherly thoughts, motherly embrace, that motherly love on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. Now we see also that the Holy Spirit, the word of the name Spirit is also feminine. He reveals himself through his Spirit. That word in Hebrew is ruach, feminine. Now, mothers are so extremely important in our life. They teach us so many beautiful things. They teach us to live in that love, to live in that embrace. They are showing us what it is to be welcomed in that safe place. And many of us, we have learned it from our mothers to know that there is a safe place. Now, I would like to tell you a story about a man who lost his mother very early on in life. He's called Mr. Van Klaveren. He's a Dutch Jew, and he was 3 years old when he was sent to the camps and when his mother died. And just only a year ago, I was in one of the former camps here in the Netherlands, and we were celebrating, I think it was then 75 years after Auschwitz was being freed. And so I was there with my sister. I was invited to read a few of the names of the people. There was 102,000 people being taken from that place to Germany, to the camps, or to Poland. And this man had lost his mother in the war, and he's actually still alive. And he was right there. And he had asked if he could read out the names of the people of his family who had perished in the war. And there were about 33 members of his family. And so he started reading them. And it was such an emotional moment, because he said with every name what his relationship was with this name. Like he was, for example, would say, Jan van Klaveren, he was 15 years old. He was my cousin. Kees van Klaveren, he was my grandfather. And then he was reading a couple of more names, and then he came to Naomi van Klaveren, 34 years. And then he broke and he says, she was my mother. She was my mother. And he cried tears and people were there to comfort him. This was so many years after the war, so many years after he had lost his mother. You know, but that pain of losing her was still there. Our mothers are so extremely important to us. And when we have lost her as a child, as a young child especially, there is a big hole in our lives, a big hole in our heart. We have missed out on so many beautiful things. Now, if that is you, if you've missed out on that motherly love from a very young age, the Father is here. He is here with his motherly love, with his merciful compassion, with the racham, with the love from the womb, that motherly love which is embracing you, which is keeping you safe, which is taking you to a place where you don't need to do anything, where nothing is expected of you, but where you could just sit and receive and relax and be. In the Old Testament, the Father has been showing himself in many different names. And one of them is the Shaddai. Now, we all probably know all these names, and we've been studying them maybe. But you know, the heart of the Father is so focused on revealing himself to his children, that in the Old Testament, before Jesus had died, and before the curtain was torn, he did that in many different ways. He could not reveal himself fully, but he did that, for example, in the Old Testament through so many names. And when we read about Shaddai, which actually is translated in the English translation as Almighty in nearly all the translations, we see that that is the way God revealed himself to Abram, Isaac, and Jacob. He did it as the Shaddai, not by his other names, by Jehovah or by I'm back, or by Lord, but he did that by the name Shaddai. And the interesting thing is that Shaddai means actually the many-breasted one, the one who has many breasts. What a beautiful expression of God being a mother to you. Shadaim is the plural is Shadaim, but he says, I am the many-breasted ones. And he just doesn't say that once in the Old Testament, but he says that 48 times. I am the mother. And I am the mother to many. I have enough for every one of you. I am the many-breasted one. There is a place for each one of you on my chest, on my breast, in my heart. Actually, he's explaining himself as the one who is a mother too, like he is a father. It's about knowing his comfort. It's about knowing his grace. It's about knowing that place where we belong, knowing that place where we were created, where we were thought about, the place where we were when he chose us already before the foundation of the world, where he says, I've picked you, I have wanted you. And yeah, maybe many things have been stolen from us all through our lives, but he's giving it back. He's giving it back in double measure. That's his love. That's his compassion. That's his mercy. Now, when we look at Jerusalem, then that's been mentioned many times, also in the Old Testament, in Isaiah, for example, about being a place of gathering. That's where God gathers his people together. It's a picture of the church. It's a feminine picture. It's a city, the city of peace. Well, there hasn't been a lot of peace over the last week. I have a few friends living in Jerusalem, and I've read what they've gone through over the last nights, not being able to sleep. Lots of trouble going on with the rockets flying over. But you know, it is the city of peace. It's a city God has put aside to bring his peace. And in the Old Testament, in Isaiah 66, Isaiah writes about Jerusalem, and he says, "Rejoice greatly with her, for you will nurse and be satisfied at her comforting breast. You will drink deeply and delight in her overflowing abundance." Isn't that beautiful? That's what he says about Jerusalem. This picture of the church, that's a feminine picture of a place of gathering where people can come. It's like a womb where you can go and sit. I remember I went in 2003, I think it was. I went to Toronto to a Father Heart conference in the church there, where there had been an outpouring. And I think that an outpouring is still going on the revelation of God being a father. And when I walked into that church, I had that very strong feeling that I was walking into a womb. That walking into a place where I could be myself. Walking into a place where it was all about love. Where I could just sit, listen, lay down, stand up, whatever I was wanting to do, I was welcomed. And the most beautiful thing of that place was it felt so safe. And I think that is coming very close to the picture of how God wants his churches to be like. Places where people can come, where they can be safe, where they can lay down their guards, and where they can receive what their hearts so need. And Isaiah is talking about this here. For you will nurse and be satisfied at her comforting breast. You will drink deeply and delight in her overflowing abundance. And then he goes on and he says, for I extend peace to her like a river, and wealth of the nations like a flooding stream. You will nurse and be carried on her arm and dandled on her knees. As a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you, and you will be comforted in Jerusalem, the place of peace, the city of peace. Now we will take maybe some time before Jerusalem is really there, before the place of Jerusalem is really there. But God's heart is already ready. He is prepared for you to come to that place where you are called to, that place which is prepared for you, that place of the many breasts, where he nurses you, where he satisfies you. When you look at a baby drinking at a mother's breast, that baby usually drinks and drinks and drinks until it's completely satisfied. And then you see it completely relax and falling asleep. How beautiful is that? That is where Father wants to take you, to a place where you are completely satisfied. Now, I've been working in Jerusalem a long time ago. I used to work there just after the Gulf War. And when I arrived in Israel at that time, we were handed a gas mask, and the plastic foil was still on all the windows because it was ceasefire, but they never knew, and they were very careful still. And so I started to work in a hospital, and it was in the time that Gorbachev was the president of Russia, and he was sending home all the Jewish people who wanted to go home, back to Jerusalem, but who were old and sick. Only the old and the sick ones were allowed to go. And so what happened to them when they were arriving at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv? They were sent straight away to the hospitals. Actually, most of them died within a couple of months. They were not allowed to bring any family members. They were not allowed to bring any money. And so they came. They had nothing else than just what they had on. And so many people were brought to the hospital. I was working at that time. And I was witnessing one day a lady being wheeled in. She wasn't able to walk. And we had just been helping our patients to sit up. We washed and had breakfast, and they were sitting on the corridor. And she was coming in. And she looked at this corridor, and this was all new to her. She came straight from Moscow, Russia. And then she saw a man sitting where I was actually standing next to me. And then she said, Baruch, Baruch, is it you? And so these two people, they knew each other. And actually, they had been neighbors in Moscow. And they looked at each other and then they said, which was really making a big impact in my heart. They said, we are home, we have made it. You know, I was watching the prophecy being fulfilled. They will come from the land of the north. But you know, what I was thinking about later is like, they really feel like they have come home. They've come to that place where they belong. Now, when I started to know the heart of the Father, I was thinking back about this what I'd seen, these older people who had been hoping for all of their lives to be able to go back to Jerusalem, and finally they arrived. And they said to each other, we are home. Were they really home? Was that a real homecoming? I mean, I think it was part of it. And I so hope, and I can't wait till the love of the Father will cover the whole nation of Israel, where people really will start to see that they can really come home to the heart of the Father, that is actually the place of peace. And I think, you know, the whole Middle East needs it. The whole world needs this. But for some areas, and especially in this time, we see that the Middle East definitely needs this. For people, Palestinians, Jewish people, Arabs, anybody around, for them to know that there is a place which is called home, and that we are all being invited there, and that His comfort, His mercy, His racham is enough, is completely enough for each one of us. Now, when we look at the mother's love, we actually see that that's a foundational love. It's a love we need, especially in the first years of our lives. It's actually forming our character. And when the mother starts to pour the love into her baby, actually that already starts before the baby is born, in these first 9 months. I'm talking about when the circumstances are unique, when a mother is happy to be pregnant, when the father is right there. You know, beautiful lessons the child is already beautiful lessons before it's actually born. And I hope that was you when you were in your mother's womb. You know, actually when the mother starts to pour her heart, her love into this little baby, there is a little container formed. The heart becomes like a container being able to hold on to love. And it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, and then it's able to hold on to love. It's not leaking away anymore. That is storge love. That's the love a mother gives. And you know, it's a motherly love a father can give too, actually. And we learn it through 3 different ways. And it's by touch, it's by eye contact, and it's by voice. And you know, when we start to receive that love, we're starting to learn to be loved, starting to learn to receive that love. Now, in 1 John it says, we cannot love God unless He has first loved us. And so when we look at babies, they are not able to do anything than receiving that love. And especially in the first months of their lives, it looks like, and I'm not so sure if that is actually true when you look closer into that, but it looks like they are not able to do anything than just receive the mother's love by drinking the milk, by receiving her touch, by looking at her eyes. And I would like to take you through that. But what it actually means is that's how it starts with Father God. He's not expecting anything from us than that we are starting to receive what He has for us. We cannot love Him unless He first loved us. Now, the fact is that He has first loved us. He is the one who chose us. He is the one who created us. He's the one who wanted us. And somewhere else it says, well, when David actually says, when your father and your mother forsake you, then the Lord has loved you. Actually, David says it about himself. When my father and my mother forsake me, the Lord has picked me up. He loved me. And you know, whatever the circumstances are where you have grown up in, it's God who has loved you first. It's Him who has picked you. Now, when you look at a newborn baby, when I was doing my nursing practices in the hospital, I worked on all kind of different wards, and I've seen in these 4 years of study, I saw babies being born, and for every mother it was different, and every baby was different. But you know what I saw, if it was possible medical wise, then what mothers were doing was receiving their baby straight away, as soon as possible. They were waiting for that moment that they would be able to pick up this little child and hold it to their hearts. That touch is so important for that baby who is just born. The mother takes it close to the heart, if possible, skin to skin. That child needs that touch, needs to feel the warmth of that mother. Know that it needs to be communicated from the first moments of our lives. Children need a lot of these touches. I know in the time that they are growing up till they are teenagers, then they probably don't want it too much anymore. But they need so many touches. Adults, the way we are sitting here, psychologists say that we need 13 positive touches a day. 13 times people who just touch you in a safe way. That's very important, that we are touched in a safe way, actually telling us we see you, we love you, we like you, we like it to be close to you. Now, just count for yourself. I don't know about you, but I'm single and I'm living by myself, and this COVID times have been terrible. I mean, there's no people around. All the touches I get is from the paws from my dog who want attention. You know, we cannot live without these touches. 13 touches a day. Without touch, children die. We probably have heard these stories about war times. Like, for example, I remember the times in Romania when Ceausescu was murdered. They went into the country and they found many orphans in orphanages with hardly anybody to care for them. They were hardly touched. They were just being fed to keep them alive. Many of them, even after they were adopted into families, many of these young children, they died because, you know, they hadn't received what they needed to be able to live. They hadn't received lovely touch. Our brain neurons, they develop by touch. And so all the functions in our body, they are doing better when we are being touched, when we are knowing that love. We had, I've worked in Uganda for quite some years, and we had healing weeks there, and we were talking about mother issues. And we were talking about this touch, and I was sharing to the group that we needed these 13 touches a day. And I realized that in Uganda, sometimes couples are not sitting together. They shy away from showing each other love. And so at that time, we had a few couples, and I didn't even know that they were couples. So one husband was sitting at one side of the room, and the wife was sitting at the other side. And when he was listening to this, he looked at his wife and he said to her, could we swap, to the neighbor of his wife, and he said, could we swap seats? He actually said, I really want to sit beside his wife now, my wife now. And he did. He went to sit beside his wife and he put his arm around her. And you know, his wife is not used to that at all. And she was just shying away and, you know, trying to hide. And, you know, the rest of the group was just laughing. It was so beautiful, you know, because he was putting into practice what he actually had just heard. And I didn't know what had happened, what they had talked about. But about half a year later, we went to visit him, and I said to him, you know, actually, I've used your story in the lessons. but I actually haven't asked you if that is okay with you. And he said, oh yes, it's very okay with me, because it has changed our marriage upside down. I realized that I never really told my wife how much I loved her. I never showed it really. And yes, if people want my name, want my telephone number, want my email address, just give it to them, because I would love to share this with them. How beautiful is that? We learn this at our mother's breast, when our mother is holding us, when we are in that safe place, when we are knowing when we know that this mother is keeping us safe. She's the one protecting us. Now, a second way we learn it is by eyes, by being looked into our eyes. Now, when a mother is breastfeeding her child, the child always is gazing into the mother's eyes. Have you ever noticed? The baby needs to know, am I in a safe place? And the baby is checking it out with the eyes. And the mother is giving love through the eyes. A baby doesn't see separation between the mother and itself. It sees itself as one. And it keeps on gazing into the mother's eyes. Now, a baby cannot see clear. It sees like it's foggy, it's gray. It doesn't see color yet. But when the baby is being kept from that distance from a mother's breast, and the mother looks into her eyes, it's from that distance that the child can see the eyes of the mother clearly. Isn't that beautiful? Who thought about that? So when you held somebody else's baby, keep it at a distance like that, about 20, 25, 30 centimeters. That's when the baby can see you clearly, can see your eyes clearly, and you can give it love. It drinks love through the eyes. Actually, we all still do, unless something terrible has happened to us and we have closed completely down. Or maybe you've never learned it. We see that too. You see sometimes, I've seen it in Uganda, if street kids or people walking in the streets, orphans who have not received that motherly love. It's like their eyes are being closed. It's like you look into the eyes and you don't see anything. They don't know really who they are. Now, even if that has happened to you, even if that was you, the Father looks into your eyes right now. He's pouring his love into your heart through the window of the eyes. It's beautiful to see how God is also using our eyes so that we can give love away through our eyes, because he shines through us. He is the source of it. He has poured into our hearts what we are able to freely give away and freely receive. When a child is about 6 weeks old or so, it starts to recognize the mother. It starts to smile back. It's like, now I've received and my container starts to fill up and fill up and fill up. And now I can give back from the overflow. My heart is overflowing and I can give my love back to my mother. That's actually the same principle as God's love. He gives and he gives and he gives until our love is just, our heart is just filled up and filled up and filled up, and then it overflows. And we are able to love back with the same love he has loved us with. It awakens our emotions. It's awakening our very life from the foundation of our hearts. Now, about a year ago, we had an A school in Germany, and that was the beginning of the pandemic. And when we teach on the schools on the Mother Heart of God, we at the end of the session, we are telling people that they can come forward if they want to, and then to get an embrace and be prayed over, the mother's embrace. But because of the COVID restrictions, we couldn't do that. We couldn't embrace. And so we felt like maybe what we could do is we could speak love, speak truth to people, pray over them, and ask them to look us in the eyes, and ask Father to pour his love through our eyes to their eyes, into their heart. And you know what? It was even more powerful than what I've seen in the embrace. Because it's actually so much more difficult to ask people to look you in the eyes. If a lot of people shied away, and we had to ask them again, keep on looking. Because we have asked Father that our eyes are like his eyes, receiving love from his heart, and that it's being poured out into your hearts. And actually, for a lot of people, it was actually very difficult, but it was actually beautiful. And then the voice, receiving love through the voice of our mothers. You know, mothers, they know their babies. If a baby cries somewhere, you know, in a hospital full of babies, the mother picks out her child. And actually, that's the same in nature too. Last Saturday, I was herding. I have this sheepdog, and once in a while, almost once a week, we go for an afternoon or sometimes a full day. We go herding sheep here in the nature reserve. And I was there last Saturday, and it's the beginning of the season, so there's still quite a few young lambs with their mothers. And for some reason, they all start communicating at the same time. If one lamb is hungry, then the other lamb thinks, oh, I'm hungry too. And they all start to call for their mothers. And it becomes just one big noise of lambs calling for their mothers. And the mothers start to communicate back, and they find each other within a few minutes. I mean, the herd is about 300. And so they find each other. And it's so amazing to see that. Same with mothers and their children. The same all over in nature. But the more it is with God our Father, when we cry out to him, he knows his child. He knows your voice. He knows you inside out. And he's waiting for you to ask for help. He's waiting for you to communicate. He loves that. He loves to get to know you better in a way, even though he knows you fully. He knows every detail of your life. But he likes that interaction. And he loves when you cry out to him now. You might have cried out to him in many different ways. But he's heard it. And he is remembered. And maybe there are times that you felt like he was not really answering, or he wasn't really there. And maybe it was the other way around. Maybe you couldn't see that he was there. Maybe you couldn't hear that he was there. But he has been there. Because that's his promise. That's his truth. I'll never leave you. I've never forsaken you. I've always been with you. My eyes have always been on you. Now, mothers have a very interesting way to talk to their babies. They talk and they talk and they talk, and they tell them a lot of stories. And the baby doesn't, of course, get all these stories. But what the baby gets is the tonation, the love behind it. And that is so beautiful. A child also needs to see the love between the mother and the father. How important is that? That they see that she sees, or he sees, that there is a family of love around her, a safe place. Now, I would like to take you through a few situations which might have been yours. And what I would like you to do, if you can, is listen to what Father is saying to you about that right now. What is he saying? What is he revealing? And I would just like to lead you through that. For example, when we are born into this world, most of us have been welcomed. There was a family waiting for us. Our fathers and our mothers were there. They smiled over us. There were probably a lot of emotions. We received a place. We received the knowledge that we were wanted. Something was being spoken to our hearts. Maybe without words. For some of us, that might have not been the case. For some of us, we maybe had to go and be rushed to an incubator, for example. Or our mothers were in a bad situation. Or there was a lot of stress around the time that you were born. What is Father saying? What did you miss out on in that time? What he actually wants to give back to you right now. And just try to take some time and allow him to speak straight to your heart. And he might speak in very many different ways. Maybe just feel a piece of sense, a sense of peace. I mean, maybe it's love you feel in your heart. Maybe it's a word. Maybe it's a scripture verse. But just give him some time to speak to your heart right now. Father, could you show us how you, with your motherly love, wanted us to know that we were wanted, that we were expected. I have chosen you from before the foundation of the world. I've picked you. When babies are being born, they need to feel safe. When there is a safe place, they receive that sense of importance, of belonging, of having value. The Father says to you right now, you are the apple of my eye. I'm focusing on you, on your heart, on your eyes, on who you are 24 hours a day. I count the hairs on your head. Your name is written in my hand. You know, when a baby laughs, it's like we all laugh. When we see a baby smile, it makes us smile. When we cry, when they cry, we feel like crying too. It makes our heart sad when a little baby cries. You know, and when the baby sees that, when the baby is allowed to just express feelings, when a child is allowed to do that too, it validates feelings. It's okay who we are. Fear not, I have redeemed you. I've called you by your name. You're mine. Even if there's fear in your heart, Father says to us, fear not. He says it how many times in Scripture? How many times? We need it so many times because, you know, danger is all around. And there are many times that fear grips our heart. And he says, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. I know you. You are mine. If a baby cries and is not picked up, is being left alone, that loneliness can easily settle into that child's heart. And when that child grows up, becomes an adult, that same loneliness can still come up. You might not know where it comes from, but it might be coming all the way from these first stages in our life, and your mother maybe could not be there for you. Maybe she was sick, maybe she was at work, maybe there were so many other different things. Maybe your father was out for business, or maybe it was a divorce. And it has left you with this deep sense of loneliness. Father says today, you know, come to me until your soul is completely satisfied in me. It's what David says in Psalm 131. That he's waiting on God until his soul is completely content in him, completely satisfied. When there is joy around our birthday, when the joy of existence is being settling in our hearts, we learn that there is joy because we have arrived, we exist. Now, many of us, we might not have received that for different reasons. But you know, it might be so that we have never seen the joy in our lives. Maybe we've lost it in a very early age. Maybe we always feel that kind of sadness is coming in so much quicker than that there is joy. Now he says in Zephaniah 3 verse 13, I rejoice over you with singing. He smiles over us. He gives us back the joy of our salvation, he says somewhere, when we have lost it. And then he says in Isaiah 12 verse 3, and I think it's beautiful, with joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation. Have you ever thought about that? What that really means? To draw with joy that from the wells of salvation. What are these wells? Where are they? I really believe that's the very heart of God. We are invited to come to that very place and to just be nosy and check out what is there for us. Because he says that he has given his whole heart to us. And he says, come with joy. Come and draw water from the depth of that well, which is in my heart. We are invited to that place. That gives joy. That gives belonging. That gives a sense of importance, of value. And he invites you to his heart. We receive love when we grow up from a wider family. We are learning to trust at our mother's breast first. But then we have other people around us, brothers and sisters and uncles and aunties. And basic trust is built in our hearts by having people around us, family, who are giving us that sense of belonging, who are looking out for us, who are looking after us. You know, many of us, we have lived through a fatherless generation. Our fathers either divorced or were busy with work or ministry, and mothers had to take up their roles and be mother and a father to us. Our mother is not able to do that, you know, and so we've missed out. And Father says today, whatever you have missed out, I'm here to give to you. I'm helping you to learn how to draw water from that well in my heart. And you're invited to that place to just receive what I have for you there. And it's a surprise. It's bigger than you think. It's more than you actually need. It will help you to not only be healed from what you've missed out on, but receive it back in an overflow, in a double portion. Psalm 49 says, can a mother forget her baby on her breast? Do you think a mother could forget the baby on her breast? You know, even her hormones and everything will remind her that there is a baby somewhere. And I had an experience in Uganda sometime where a lady in the slum area would give her child to me and said, you know, you can take better care of it. Please look after it. Please go with it. You know, how sad is that? Because do you think a mother wants to give the baby away? Definitely not. But she feels so low. She feels she has nothing to give. And so she feels it will be so much better for my baby to grow up in the house of another lady who maybe has the money, who has everything my child needs. But actually, the mother needs care herself. Of course, I didn't go with the baby. But you know, these mothers, they haven't received from their mothers what they needed to raise their own children. These mothers, they need God Father. They need to know Him. They need to receive their love from Him. And then they are able to give more than that their child needs, because He gives in overflow. We can try to fill up the emptiness in our hearts with so many other things. It can lead us into addictions to work or to ministry or to drugs or to alcohol, to anything. We don't want to feel that emptiness inside of our heart. But Father says, you know, come to me, because I will give you rest. I will lead you to that place where you can keep on drawing water from that well, where you can be satisfied, where you can drink as much as you need, and then just be. There's even no responsibility to give it away to somebody else again. Because when you keep on drinking, that will happen automatically. You will just receive and receive and receive, and it will flow over from your heart to the people who are around you. Just being at that place. Just receiving from him. Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? No. And so is our Father. The more he is, he looks at us, he looks at you today. He has not forgotten you. He cannot forget you. His fatherly heart looks upon you right now, and he invites you to come closer. He invites you to come and live in that embrace. Not just for a moment, not just for a second, not just like a friend's embrace, which is hardly lasting a second, but to stay there and receive until you know that you belong, that you are wanted, that you will not be rejected, that you are being looked after. Thank you, Father. We thank you that you are inviting us to that place, and we sometimes just don't know how to stay there. Will you teach us, Father, every moment again, when we seem to walk away again, when we seem to forget, when the trouble of life seems to take over. Could you call us back again? And I know you do. You will draw us back every time to that place where we belong, in the Trinity. We thank you, Father. Amen.
Thanks, Winette. When we have the Zoom session a bit later on, I think we just want to spend some time just praying and ministering the Father's love in this way that Winette's been talking about. Because the good thing is that however much we've missed out, and we've all missed out, the good thing is the Father can put that back in and restore it to us. So thank you very much, Winette. We'll take a 15-minute break, and then we'll come back for the second session. You've got the link for that second session in your email. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in a few minutes.